Hey everyone, welcome to the 31st episode of the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. I'm here with Bryce Ellig. My name's Jim Croger. And as always, a lot to talk about on this episode. We had the Bengals beating the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game this past Sunday. We also had the Rams beating the 49ers. Both teams will play in the Super Bowl. And it's almost like a home game for the Rams. They're playing at their stadium. They're the second team to do it, and it's actually happened in back-to-back years. Last year it was the Tampa Bay Bucks. Yeah, now this year it's the Rams. Bryce, you called it. You called your shot to start the season. You had the Rams going to the Super Bowl. What do you have to say about that?
Once again, I'm not gonna hype myself up. It wasn't like it was like an extremely hot take. I wouldn't say it was like a guaranteed. I think there was probably 3 or 4 teams that a lot of people had over them making the Super Bowl, like Green Bay and the Bucks. But I mean, I was just confident. I mean, like everybody says, I'm a Stafford guy. I believe in him, and I'm just saying, 1 year exactly they trade for him. The next year, exactly 1 year, 365 days later, he's taking him to a Super Bowl. I think they won that trade.
They will only win this trade if Matt
I
Stafford
agree.
goes Listen, we talked about. Go ahead.
I agree there. I think you can agree with me. There's obviously much more to talk about with the other team that the Rams are playing in the Super Bowl. I can guarantee you, not even Bengals fans thought they were going even to the playoffs and having a chance to actually win it all, which is crazy. We'll get into that, obviously. But I'm not shocked by the Rams. You know, when you trade all your first-round picks and second-round picks and, sign everyone you can, this is what you get. Like, you're supposed to make it to these stages. They paid a ton of guys. They're a great team. They have home field advantage, which people don't think is going to matter too much. It's going to matter. That's big to have home field advantage. They played in that stadium all year. They know like what it's like. They're going to have there's going to be more Rams fans there than Cincinnati fans. I don't know how the Bengals fans travel. I haven't really met a Bengals fan ever, so I don't know how, what that's like, but no, I'm excited. I think this is going to be a fun Super Bowl, but I'm just going to go out with it right away. I don't understand. I can't get on it. I think the Rams are going to absolutely steamroll the Bengals. I don't think maybe a blowout, but it's not going to be close. And we'll get into that later. But what are your thoughts on Rams?
For the record, I'm not throwing Bryce underneath the bus. He did say this on the show last week. He had the Chiefs steamrolling the Bengals, and we all know how that turned out. But
we'll get into that. We'll get
into scoring predictions and who wins the Super Bowl later. Bryce, I want to get into what you want to talk about. Obviously, the Chiefs versus Bengals. It didn't go as planned. The Chiefs went up. The Chiefs went up early. They started out hot, and to me, that was like a typical Rams game. Come out hot, score a bunch of touchdowns, and then slow up, and then end up losing the game. Like we saw, Rams almost blew it last week against Tampa Bay Bucks.
They almost blew it. They blew it week 18 against the Niners to put the Niners in the playoffs.
That was just to bring that up.
They've been doing that a lot throughout the season.
What do you think happened with the Chiefs? What do you think was the key to their breakdown?
The key to this thing, no doubt whatsoever, to this breakdown, to this just absolute. I mean, this is as bad as a choke job as the Falcons Super Bowl to me. You have this game locked up. You're at home, and 1,000% the reason why they lost this game, and I knew it. Me and my dad were watching the game. They didn't get in the first half when they got 5 seconds left in the game. They ran a bad play. They threw to the wrong guy. Tyreek Hill is not the guy to throw to try to get, to try to break through 2 guys' tackles and score. They don't score a touchdown there, and you just felt the momentum. Everybody just died. It gave the Bengals hope. Even if you kick a field goal there, I'm positive, call it a hot take, call it whatever, say it's fate that the Bengals, if they just kick a field goal, that game is over. The game ends right there.
I completely agree with you because, it's a lot different in terms of like mindset and everything like that. When you go into the half only down by 2 scores, rather than you go down in the half down by 3.
Plus the Chiefs were getting the ball second half. They would have had their momentum, a little bit more confidence. You felt, and this is the first time I can really say it. You felt even in the Super Bowl last year when they were getting killed, you felt the confidence of Patrick Mahomes, which we haven't seen in 4 years of him being a starter, just die. He had no confidence in that second half. He wasn't making the throws he normally did. He was running around. The fact that they had -7 yards in the second half until that last drive. I mean, I don't think this is a hot take. I don't think it's crazy. I think the Bengals, yes, they played a good game. They didn't play a crazy good game. I think it was way more that the Chiefs just lost this game. Andy Reid, this is what he's been criticized for the last 2 decades of his career. He's a great coach, but he kind of just sticks to that game plan. And when that game plan starts to crumble and doesn't work, he just sticks to it. And I think that was a big killer for him. I mean, all the Chiefs had to do, it's like similar to the Falcons. They were up by so much. All they had to do was just get a couple first downs. They didn't even have to score, just milk 4 or 5 minutes off the clock and then just hold the Bengals up. I mean, you just felt the collapse, like even from just that play, like you all just felt it. And then the Chiefs go 3 and out, they punt. And it wasn't like the Bengals were putting up touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. They were struggling. And you felt like right when they were about to come back and win, Burrow throws a really bad interception, like a really bad interception that you kind of don't see coming. And that's when you think it's going to be the turning point. And then they don't get it done. And then right at the end of the game, 1 minute left, they're on the 3-yard line. And they can't get in there. You just knew they were never winning that game. I was confident they wouldn't even win the game, even when they got the ball first in overtime. Mahomes didn't have his magic. He wasn't confident, and confidence is key. Like Deion Sanders says, you got to be confident. And Mahomes didn't have it. It was just plain and simple. I felt like it was more, don't get me wrong, not hating on the Bengals in any sort of way. I just felt like it was way more of a collapse. Like the Chiefs just completely let this game slip through their hands. And the Bengals and Joe Burrow were able to jump on it. And I think great credit to their defense. I mean, giving up so many points so early, that would deflate me. I don't think I would want to go out there after the first 3 possessions going easy touchdowns. I mean, the Bengals stormed down the field all 3 times with ease, first down after first down after first down. And then they bunkered down and, they held them at that goal line in the first half. And, that's why they're going to the Super Bowl. I'll give them credit 1000%. It was definitely the defense.
Definitely a lot to swallow after this game, especially if you're a Chiefs fan. To start out, a couple episodes ago, we talked about going for it on, big time plays, 4th downs, all that kind of stuff, rather than just take the points, kick the field goal and, get the 3 points and then move on. Like you said, they should have just kicked the field goal and took the points. Obviously, it's a lot easier talking about it now, a day later, and, they came out with
listen, the big thing is though, like, if you're not going to kick the field goal, you have to run a way better play than that. I mean, that was a really bad play. I mean, you're throwing the ball to Tyreek Hill, who yes is shifty, yes breaks tackles, but on the 1 yard line, I mean, you threw it to him on the 3 yard line with 2 guys there. He's not going to break that tackle. I think maybe run that play to like Travis Kelce. There's a better chance, or just don't run that play at all. I just thought that was a really, really bad play, and you just felt the momentum die. I mean, it didn't.
I heard today that Andy Reid actually wanted to kick the field goal. And Patrick Mahomes was the one that said, no, let's try to score. Let's try to score.
I get Andy Reid there, but that's a shame on him because at the end of the day, you're the head coach of a football team. You're the guy that makes those decisions. You tell your quarterback to get off the field if you think and that's what I said to my dad. I was shocked. Andy Reid is not a big risk guy.
Let me stop you though real quick there, because yes, the coach should make the final call and make the decisions, but the quarterbacks know the game. They feel the game out. They're on the field playing. Listen, if Doug Peterson made that call in the Super Bowl, it wouldn't have been the Philly special. All right. He was trying to kick the field goal there. He didn't want to go for it. Nick Foles came up and said, you want Philly.
Yeah, don't compare Patrick Mahomes to the greatest quarterbacks ever.
My bad. Last week we had Aaron Rodgers and Nick Foles in the same sentence. This week we had Patrick Mahomes and Nick Foles in the same sentence.
You've got as many Super Bowls as both of them.
Anyway, what I want to get to is I don't agree with what they did, because I'm always a fan just taking the points. But I agree with Patrick Mahomes wanting to score a touchdown there. You have to look at that half. They scored 21 points. They were rolling. Their offense was hot, clicking on all cylinders. So you have to imagine that you're going to score there. And even if you don't score, you have to expect that in the second half, your offense is going to do just as well. I know that's not what happened. I'm just saying from a player standpoint, from how the game was going. But from the opposing standpoint, the Bengals side, it takes one play to switch the entire game. And that play by Eli Apple to stop Tyreek Hill at the goal line, that just sent a bolt of energy to that entire team. And you could tell the momentum shifted. And right there, like the energy got sucked out of Arrowhead, and the Bengals had all the momentum in the world.
It's like a high school team came out in the second half for the Chiefs. Like no exaggeration. It was literally like that was not the Kansas City Chiefs of the last 4 years. That was like the Jacksonville Jaguars. They just did not have any confidence in themselves. You could see it in Mahomes. He was not making throws. He was running around in the pocket. He had time. He wasn't throwing the ball at all to Tyreek Hill, which I didn't understand. I mean, you just got to throw the ball to Tyreek Hill. He's going to get open. He's the fastest guy in the league. and he wasn't hitting his safety blanket and Travis Kelce. They weren't running the ball. I just felt like they completely threw the game plan, and that's just, I mean, to me, it's just crazy to watch a team that talented just completely crumble
The
and blow.
adjustments, the adjustments that the Bengals made. I know you don't want to give a lot. Like, I know you said the Bengals played well, and you say it's more of a collapse, but you do have to give the Bengals credit. In that second half, Tyreek Hill had a total of 2 targets and 0 catches. All right. He is the best player on that offense. I know Travis Kelce has had
No, I
great
agree. There's no denying he's the best player in the offense.
I mean, Tyreek Hill is unstoppable, and he showed that in the first half. For them to shut him down, that took Patrick Mahomes' outlet away immediately. And like what Patrick Mahomes likes doing, he likes to scramble. He likes to make those crazy plays thrown across his body, all that. And it worked in the first half. But once Tyreek Hill wasn't there in the second half, neither was Patrick Mahomes' magic. And it's a shame because imagine a Chiefs Rams Super Bowl. I mean, that's box office right
I'm
there.
just being realistic. That would be a way better Super Bowl matchup than the Bengals.
Nothing against nothing against the Bengals or anything like that. But you want to talk about confidence as well. Joe Burrow, that man has a ton of confidence, and that's why I'm rolling with him in the Super Bowl. Bengals beating the Rams 28-24. You heard it here first on the Brothers of Broad Street podcast. I'm calling it.
At the end of the day, when it comes to the Bengals, and there's no denying that they have plenty of offensive talent. We all know what Jamar Chase is doing. We all know how good T. Higgins is. Even Tyler Boyd, he's very solid too. They've got one of the best wide receiver cores in the NFL. But we also knew that coming into the season. Obviously, Jamar Chase had his questions, but they still were.
I don't think we know they were going to be this good
not this good, but I definitely thought they were a top 10 wide receiver core. I don't think that would have been a hot take to start the season. They still had 2.
I think you're right. I think they were there.
But at the end of the day, I mean, this is something to look at. The Rams offense obviously has been probably top 5 in the NFL. Stafford led the league, I think second in most categories. And obviously we don't need to talk about Cooper Kupp's season. I mean, stud. Odell Beckham Jr. has been an unbelievable ad for them. I mean, he looks like 2014 Odell. And the running backs
yesterday.
The running backs have been playing real well. Obviously, we'll see the status of Tyler Higbee. I'm hearing that he's probably not going to play. That's a huge, huge, huge loss for them. No doubt whatsoever. But even guys like Van Jefferson have stepped up and played really well. I mean, that offense.
And his name's Drew Blanton, right? The backup tight end. He had a great game.
Yeah, I mean, that random guy that came
number
out of
86 or something like that.
Yeah, he's been falling out. I don't know.
He was all over the field yesterday. He looked like Rob Gronkowski.
He scored his first touchdown ever in his career, in his 2-year career against the Buccaneers, and now he just decided to become like Tony Gonzalez. So I don't know what's happening there, but kudos to Sean McVay for figuring that out. So I mean, we don't know, but maybe he'll be like the Corey Clement of the Rams Super Bowl run. You never know.
Yeah.
The point is there's no denying it whatsoever. When you match these teams up side to side, the Rams are significantly better, as they should be. They've been planning this Super Bowl ahead, what it feels like for the last 3 years. They trade for Stafford. They trade for Ramsey. They get Von Miller. They sign all these guys. And, they get, Odell. They sign all these guys. The Bengals kind of take the opposite, way. They draft all their players. They made a couple of decent signings throughout the offseason, but nothing too big. Pick up like Eli Apple. And, obviously Jamar Chase in the draft. But as I see it right now, there's no denying it whatsoever. That Bengals offensive line is it's like the Allen Iverson Sixers. Like, how did they get to how did Joe Burrow lead this offensive line to the Super Bowl? I can't tell you, but this is going to be their biggest challenge. Obviously, Aaron Donald, there's no denying, has been the best defensive player in the NFL for probably the last 5 seasons. It takes 3 guys to block that man, and he still sacks the quarterback. And now adding Von Miller, who for one is a Super Bowl MVP, so let's not forget that, has experience in the Super Bowl, has played in big games, has been that guy in games, and has played absolutely phenomenal for the Rams. Probably the big reason why they won yesterday. He came up, had a couple good sacks and had that play against Garoppolo at the end. You're matching them up against, and also Leonard Floyd, not to mention, is also playing really well for them. Their third guy on that line. How I see it is, that's what scares me for Joe Burrow. I get that he's been playing well and he's got all the confidence, but you can have all the confidence in the world when a guy like Aaron Donald and Von Miller running at you every single play, they're going to get there. I expect at least 4 sacks out of both of them, at least.
Tennessee had 9.
No, I'm saying that those are 2 guys. I'm sure there'll be more sacks. The Chiefs should have at least had 4 sacks yesterday. They just literally could not tackle Joe Burrow. I get Chris Jones and Frank Clark are great players, but Von Miller and Aaron Donald aren't. My bad.
You're good.
are on another level. I think we can all agree. That's what scares me for the Bengals. I think I'm just being more of a realistic fan when it comes to that. I get the hype. I love Joe Burrow. I love Jamar Chase. I love all those guys. And I'm not even a Rams guy. I'm just a Stafford guy. I don't really like anybody on the Rams. But yeah, they're just significantly better when it comes to that. I mean, we saw with the Philadelphia Eagles, defensive line and offensive line win Super Bowls. They do. So I think people got to take that into consideration. Also, you pay a guy like Jalen Ramsey, who's been the best cornerback in the NFL, to cover a guy like Jamar Chase. So that's going to be the big thing. And like I said earlier to Jim before we started the podcast, the key guy for the Bengals to win the Super Bowl, the only shot they have of winning the Super Bowl, is for a guy by the name of T. Higgins. He has to come out and play one of his best games, if not his best game. He has to come out. And don't get me wrong, he's been playing absolutely phenomenal. He had a couple huge catches yesterday. He's definitely an above average. If not, I think he's a borderline coming already into that area of an elite wide receiver, already in his, only in his second year, but has shown a lot of, he's shown that could be a very good wide receiver. That's how I see it. He's definitely the key X factor to that game. I'm not really worried when it comes to Joe Mixon. I think they do a good job shutting him down. It's T. Higgins or bust. He's got to come up. He's got to come out and show out. That's just my, that's the only shot I think the Bengals can even stay in this game.
All right. We talked about this last week. The 49ers played well this postseason. They did a nice job. They went up against some talent. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers the week before shut him down. That game was the perfect setup for the 49ers, and it's unfortunate they weren't able to come away with a win. I think they would have. And if that safety caught that interception.
Yeah, I mean.
All right, now listen. This is where I'm getting at with Matt Stafford. He's so talented, hard worker, all that. You can't tell me that interception.
That might have been the worst throw I've ever seen him make in my life.
I love Carson Wentz, but that was Carson Wentz-esque. Like that was just how, I don't care how fast you could throw the football or how tight of a spiral you could throw it. There was no way Cooper Kupp was catching that football.
Oh, that was terrible. That was okay. I thought you meant the one where the safety dropped it. I think that was
getting to that. I brought that up. I'm getting to that. All right, so that's one interception right there that just completely changes momentum. And with 8 minutes left or 9 minutes left, whatever it was, he tries throwing that deep shot down the field. Everyone look at my arm. I can throw it as far as I want. Okay. It was not even a Rams jersey in that area. I think that Rams wide receiver is 5 yards down the field.
I'm going to make a bold take that people might not agree with, or I make that interception.
Okay. It's hard because you're running backwards and then you have to switch real quick and try to make the catch. So I will give him that. But
I'm not giving him any slack. How does he drop that? That was a pop fly. That was a can of corn.
How does Jalen Reagor drop his punt returns?
Jalen Reagor just is horrible.
I don't know. It just happens. But if he catches that football, game's over. 49ers win.
I think game over is a stretch. They were only down by 3 at the time. I think, and there was 9 minutes left. I think that's a bit of a stretch. You never know what happens in football. But that's right.
But listen, they were only down by 3. But the Rams get that football back. They're able to drive down the field and run the clock down to about 3:30.
I'm just saying. I think it's a little bit of an exaggeration that the game's just over. There's not like it was 1 minute left and he dropped the ball. Like he dropped the ball and there was still 9 minutes left in the game. The Rams still had 3 timeouts and the ball didn't get dropped at the 20-yard line. It got dropped more closer to the 50-yard line. I'm not saying, the 49ers, obviously they can come down and score a touchdown, but they might only kick a field goal. You never know. But that was a huge momentum. It would have been a huge momentum shift. 1,000%.
Exactly. But because then even if the 49ers get that ball, they run the clock down. Let's just say to 4 minutes. Let's just
listen, there's no better team. There was no better team in the NFL than running out the clock than the Niners. They've done it all season.
So, they run it down to 4 minutes and say they kick a field goal. Well, now they're up by 6. Now Stafford and the Rams have to score a touchdown. And now Stafford on his mind is like, oh man, I have 2 interceptions today. And then that starts to happen.
But part of football, you got to agree. As good as you are, there's got to be some luck in there, and that's 1,000% part of the game. I mean, you could have named 1,000 plays yesterday in the Chiefs Bengals game where Joe Burrow, the one play, prime example. Both those big guys just don't tackle him. They try to tackle him high, which basic football is you got to tackle a guy low to take him down. They don't tackle him on a 3rd and 8 instead of sacking him and getting the ball back and still being up and getting the ball back with 5 minutes left. Probably could, you never know. The Chiefs might have settled down, got a momentum shift, gotten a couple first downs, kick a field goal and win the game. Instead, they miss it. Joe Burrow, makes a crazy play with his feet, runs out and gets a first down. I'm not saying it's nearly as, crazy as what we saw yesterday with that dropped interception, but it's just an example. I mean, crazy things happen in football games.
Yeah, listen, I'm just bringing it up. I don't want people to kind of be a prisoner of the moment and say, like, listen, Stafford, he's throwing the ball all around the field. He's lighting up with the touchdowns. He's having a very nice postseason. I'm glad that he's in the Super Bowl. Good for him. But
don't be a lover.
No. Hold on. I said until he wins a Super Bowl, I'll consider him an elite quarterback.
If he wins the Super Bowl, if he holds up a Lombardi Trophy, Matt Stafford is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Not like a hot take. He's a Hall of Famer. I mean, he's like top. He's going to be top 10 in every category within the next season. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. If Eli Manning's a Hall of Famer, Matt Stafford's got to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Anyway.
Just saying.
No. Well, that's a different conversation. Like we'll get into later.
That's for a different time. Yeah.
Yeah. But he's got to win it first. And
after he wins the Super Bowl, we'll talk about it.
It's a big word. Now, Matt Stafford is still that quarterback who in the last 8 games of the year threw a pick in all 8 of the games. All right. We can obviously see in yesterday's game those crazy plays where everyone's wondering, like, where was he looking? What is he throwing to? I'm not saying it's going to happen in the Super Bowl, but it's going to happen in the Super Bowl. He's going to make a costly mistake, and Joe Burrow has that swagger, has that confidence. He's going to lead this Bengals team to a victory over the Rams. I'm telling you, it's just we talked about this. The team that's hot, things just magically go their way. Who expected the Chiefs to beat the Bengals? Tell me one person who expected the Chiefs to beat the Bengals. I mean, Bengals my bad.
Yeah, only like the idiot people that were like just I like how everyone I love the way sports work when like all the fans are like, I knew it, I called it, but at halftime they were just so quiet. They didn't want to say a word.
Another good point I want to bring up. Listen, the way they shut down Tyreek Hill yesterday in the second half. I'm not saying they're going to be able to do it, but they're going to try to do that to Cooper Kupp in the Super Bowl. If they do you trust Odell Beckham to lead this offense and help out Matt Stafford to a victory?
I do, honestly. He's played absolutely fantastic since he's been on the Rams. Odell's proven to me that he still is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. Yesterday he had to step up. He had over 100 yards. His first time since like.
You think Odell's top 10?
I don't think he's far from it. I think he's definitely top 15.
That's another conversation for a different episode.
I don't think top 15 for Odell is a hot take. I think that's pretty fair at this point. My big question, that's for another time. We don't have to do it.
No, I'm not.
There's a huge game for him to play in to really prove that. He's also playing for even a bigger reason. He's trying to get paid. If Odell goes off in the Super Bowl, he's going to get paid. It's also crazy to think that Odell's in a Super Bowl. Never thought I'd see that. Also, just wanted to put that out there. I just never thought he would even get close to a Super Bowl. So good for him. Not really a hater of him anymore because he doesn't play for the Giants. But I think the big thing, that the biggest takeaway in this Super Bowl, think about the matchup. What is the biggest mismatch to you coming into this Super Bowl?
I know it's the defensive line versus the Bengals offensive line.
Nope, that's not it.
It's not the Rams defensive line versus the Bengals offensive line?
No, it's Sean McVay versus Zach Taylor.
This is what you're doing. You're taking your arguments from last episode and put it in this.
No, but I'm saying it's Zach Taylor is literally a disciple.
What has Sean McVay done in the playoffs?
He's gone to a Super Bowl
and lost.
Yeah, because
there's millions of coaches who've gone to a Super Bowl and lost.
That's because his quarterback sucks.
Doug Peterson's gone to a Super Bowl. He's won it. He's beaten the greatest dynasty of all, and he's not even a head coach in the league anymore. And that's another point that I'm going to get to. If Sean McVay loses this Super Bowl with these amount of stars, with this team, don't be surprised if he gets fired. I'm calling it right now. He's definitely
not getting fired, but I agree with you.
No. He's had enough years, enough talent to do something. And if they don't win, he's done absolutely nothing.
No, yeah, I know.
It's about time that he gets questioned.
I agree. I agree because the biggest hot take is that the reason why they lost the Super Bowl is because their quarterback sucked, which that is why they lost the Super Bowl. Jared Goff played god awful.
That's what I'm getting at. He traded away these 2 picks for Stafford. He got his guy. They signed Odell, Von Miller, Jalen Ramsey. I mean, when's the next time they have a first round pick? It's like 6 years.
2024.
Yeah.
They don't have like a second round or like a third round pick. Like they haven't picked in the last like 2 drafts. Like they haven't had a first round.
So, it's gonna end up totally be like total be
Madden
like 6 years.
It's like when you were like 12 years old and you got on Madden and just traded all your first round picks for like elite guys. It's literally what it is.
I'm not saying McVay's not a good coach or anything like that. The Rams have been extremely successful over the years. But how does a guy like, and I'm not just saying it because it's Doug Peterson. We could take any coach. He's not even in the league anymore. He's won a Super Bowl. Sean McVay, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, he's been there twice. What's going on? So at some point,
I will. It all depends on like. Listen, there's a lot of things that could happen like in this game, but I mean, I see it going one of 2 ways. I really don't think it's going to be as crazy of an offensive game as people think it's going to be. I would honestly wouldn't be surprised if there's less than like 45 points scored in the Super Bowl. I don't think that's a crazy take.
It's going to be like the Chiefs-Bengals game. I think it's going to be like 28-24 along those lines, kind of close game. You know,
I think it might come out. I actually think it might start out a little bit slow. I think both teams might not come out
nervousness, all that kind of stuff.
I think because you got to think at the end of the day, yes, Joe Burrow, I guess, has experience because he won his championship in college, but the NFL Super Bowl is way more different than the national championship. It's much bigger, and I know that sounds crazy because the national championship's huge, but the Super Bowl is like, I mean, it's the biggest sporting event in the history of the world. I mean, there's no denying it. So that's my big, that's the big thing when it comes to that. But I just think when you look at it, Matt Stafford, I love him, great, or whatever. He hasn't had any playoff experience pretty much until this season. So I think when you look at it, a big guy coming into the Super Bowl is Von Miller. He's played in the game. He's a Super Bowl MVP.
This is your biggest mismatch.
I just think that's an advantage for when it comes to training.
Oh, McVay Taylor's.
Think about it. The best players on the Bengals have only been in the league for 3 to 4 years. Joe Burrow's in his second year. T. Higgins is in his second year. Jamar Chase is in his first year. If you look at it, the Bengals don't have any studs on defense. Jesse Bates is a stud, but he's only been on the team for, I want to say, about 5 years. He's not like a vet.
Here's another thing that I want to bring up, too, that I thought was interesting. The 49ers did not do well running the ball last night, and they've been doing that all year. I think total, what did they only have, like 60 rushing yards or something? It was something crazy.
I know Mitchell, who has ran the ball for like almost 100 yards in like the last 5 games, didn't even have like 40. He had under 40 yards.
So that's going to be an interesting thing to look at.
Had under 20 yards.
Exactly. So, if Joe Mixon can't get anything going, that changes a lot of things. But Joe Mixon is also a better running back than Elijah Mitchell. So I think that's a game changer.
I will say the big thing is you saw it, especially with the Titans game. In the first half of the Titans game, Joe Mixon was held to like under 5 yards. So I thought that was big. Joe Mixon was held to under 5 yards, which was big. And then in the second half, he came out and he ended up getting like 50 more yards, but he had a touchdown. And you saw that the Bengals kind of rallied around and played a lot better because their offense, especially like receiving wise, I get Jamar Chase still had a monster day, but they weren't like unbelievable like they have been throughout the season. I think the big thing is people have this like idea that the Bengals offense was like deadly yesterday. They really weren't. They played well and they were able to bounce back. I just think their defense really, it was like an all around performance. I don't know how to describe it. Like, I just really think the Chiefs blew it. I mean, there's no denying that. I'm not saying the Bengals didn't play well, but I just think no experience going into the Super Bowl is huge. Think about it. No, that coaching staff is really young. That their quarterback is a second-year quarterback. I mean, Matt Stafford is in his 13th NFL season. Experience matters in these games. I mean, there's no denying that.
Yeah.
I just think that's big, and I think they're big veteran present. And I think the biggest thing, and we talked about this before the podcast, is I'm gonna try to pronounce his name, probably gonna butcher it, but CJ Uzmana, the tight end for the Bengals, is currently, I've heard, questionable that he's gonna play or not. I doubt he plays. From what it looked like, he was in crutches in a boot and he was crying before he left the field. He came back out, but obviously, only 2 weeks before the Super Bowl. Even if he does play, he's not, probably going to be at best 40 to 50%. He's been Burrow's safety blanket all year, and also in the red zone. He's got a lot of red zone touchdowns. It's going to be, and Drew Sample replaced him. He had no catches. I don't think he's had a catch in the postseason. That's huge, and obviously along the same lines as Tyler Higbee being out. But I think it's bigger that CJ's out rather than Tyler Higbee being out for the Rams. I think that's really big. Those injuries are going to hurt. I also think people are sleeping on the Rams when it comes to their run game. I think Sony Michel and Cam Akers have become a nice little 1-2 punch for them. I think the Bengals are going to struggle a little bit with them.
They've definitely been solid. They've definitely helped out the play action for Matt Stafford.
I just think the experience is really big. I always think that's huge in a Super Bowl. Like, just not having, you think about it, the Bengals are got to be one of the youngest teams in the NFL.
Offensively, definitely.
Offensively, for sure.
Offensively, definitely. Defense side of the ball. Eli Apple's been in the league for a little bit. I'm trying to think of some other guys.
I know they're starting middle linebacker. His last name's Wilson. I loved him coming into the draft last year. I know he's only in his second year. Sam Hubbard, he's been like one of their better defensive players. I think he's only in his third or fourth season. Jesse Bates is probably their he's their Malcolm Jenkins. He's been an elite safety since he's been in the league. I think he's only in his fifth season, maybe his sixth season. I doubt it. I think more 4 or 5. You think about it, just not a lot of veterans on that team. I know Von Bell is one of the oldest players on that team. I think he's 27 or 28 years old. That's young.
Here's another thing that's always big in the Super Bowl, and we talked about it earlier on the show. The Rams always get out hot. That's been their style.
The Bengals have been a second half team all year.
And the Bengals have been a second half team all year. That halftime show extends the halftime a lot longer. And we've seen, over the years, that affects some teams. Say these Rams come out real hot in the first half. They have an extended halftime. And then there come the Bengals coming back. So I'm never going to count the Bengals out of this game at all. I didn't like how close the 49ers were in it against the Rams. I thought that the Rams were a much better team, and they should have put them out. But listen, Jimmy Garoppolo is not as good as Joe Burrow. Deebo Samuel's obviously a stud, but Brandon Ayuk, their second wide receiver, he's not as good as the Cincinnati Bengals second wide receiver. And
He played well too. Brandon Ayuk played very well in the playoffs.
He had a big game against the Rams, but I'd expect T. Higgins to have a bigger game. You were talking about T. Higgins being the X factor for the Bengals. I just think offensively, the Bengals pose a lot of challenges to this Rams defense. I know the Rams are star-studded, but Ramsey can only cover one guy. Aaron Donald can only do so much.
I think a big factor too I want to mention real quick is no one's really talking about this. Eric Weddle is currently starting for the Rams. Listen, he's a Hall of Fame guy.
How old is he?
He's got to be like 37 years old at least.
They picked him up like the week before the playoffs started, right?
He hasn't played football in 200. In 2 seasons. And listen, he looked pretty good. He's looked good, but that's a disadvantage. You literally have a guy out there that, don't get me wrong, he's an All-Pro, and to me, he's probably going to be a Hall of Famer. He had an absolutely spectacular career, a very underrated career. But come on now, that's gonna against the wide receiver core like that. That could be a guy that comes back and kills him a little bit. Having a guy in there that hasn't played football in 2 years, that's huge.
Yeah, we'll see. Talking along the lines of you with the experience, he does have the experience at the highest level in the NFL. He was a stud for many years. I'm not saying he's like what he was, but
also, you can't. Also, I wanted to mention. I want to give my thoughts and prayers out to AJ Green. He's in Cincinnati for 11 years. Requested trade because he doesn't want to play with Joe Burrow. Gets the trade, and then they go to the Super Bowl. That is that's just got to hurt, big guy. That's going to be a tough one to sleep on.
That's like Bryce Harper, 7 years with the Nationals, leaves, goes to the Phillies, and then doesn't win the World Series. That hurts definitely.
I think it
You know,
might be worse for AJ Green because he was there for a whole decade, and they just same with Andy Dalton. I get like obviously like in order for them to be in the Super, like be where they're at, he can't be this what he plays. But another guy that was there for a long time, played well there, and just but rest in peace, AJ Green. That sucks to be on the to go to the Cardinals. Think you're about to go to the Super Bowl, watch them fall apart. It's kind of like Cincinnati and the Cardinals switch places like at week like 14.
the well, I mean, yeah, the Cardinals had all those injuries. People went down with COVID, and then
That's just I saw EJ Green. I saw EJ Green like posted and made a comment that
I
he
was
was
just
like,
about to bring that up on social media. He hasn't been on Instagram in a while, and then he logged back onto his account to say,
he's not happy. AJ Green is the liar if he says he's rooting for them to win the Super Bowl. He does not want them to win the Super Bowl.
that stinks.
I mean, would you want them to? I'm being honest. Like if I was in his spot, I wouldn't want them to win the Super Bowl.
Being a competitor like he is, he definitely does not want them to win. But at the same time, I mean, he spent a decade there. His home's there.
It's a win. It's a win-win. It's a win-win for him because
you want them to you want them to do well. You want them to win, but at the same time, you want to be like, no.
I will say that what I know this sounds crazy, but I'm just going to be flat out honest. I see this Joe Burrow situation a lot like I could see how Dan Marino's career ends up. Losing, a Super Bowl in a tough way, and then everyone talking about how he'll be back one day and him end up never going back. I still think the Cincinnati team is, like you said, it's like a team of destiny in a way to where they've gotten, similar to how the Philadelphia Eagles were in 2017. 2017-18, kind of like it was destiny for them to get there with the Atlanta Falcons game when the smacked off the guy's knee and Torrey Smith caught it, and watching them blow out Minnesota and watching, just crazy stuff happen. It's kind of been like how it's been for the Bengals. But I will say, I don't think this is a hot take. I think obviously we'll look back on this recording, a decade from now and see it. But I would not be surprised if Joe Burrow, if he doesn't win a Super Bowl, he never wins one. Not that I don't think he's great. I think Joe Burrow is going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the league for the next decade. I just don't see the Cincinnati Bengals going back to the Super Bowl again. I just don't think they're like the Kansas City Chiefs, Rams talent wise. I just think they're riding the hot hand. They do have like the fifth most cap space in the league, which is going to be big in the offseason. They signed some defensive guys, but that's my hot take. I'm allowed to give it.
No, and I'm not saying that takes far.
I don't think that's a crazy. I really don't think that's a crazy take, especially with how talented the AFC is.
I think in terms of now, are you talking about Joe Burrow himself? Or are you talking about like the Cincinnati Bengals organization?
Bengals, like him.
Yeah,
I'm talking about him going.
That's what I want to clarify because
like if it'd be different. Like if he goes to let's just say 5 years from now, shit hits the fan with he's old. He's 25, I think. He was old. He was older, kind of like Baker. He was older when he got drafted, but maybe it hits the fan and he goes to like New England or something. You never know with this league. But I just don't see him ever going back to the Super Bowl with the Cincinnati Bengals after this. I think this is a 1-year thing. It's the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm sorry.
Listen. I'm not going to say it's a bad take at all. I'm not going to argue with you about that.
No, I think
look how great the Chiefs team is. And we all said that was the next upcoming dynasty. They've only won the Super Bowl once in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, I agree. And their dynasty's coming to an end. They only got about another 1-2 year run.
Exactly. And now, they have all that money put into Patrick Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce. They get a year older. So it's going to be a lot harder to maintain these guys over the next couple of years.
Agreed.
With the Bengals.
Also, Andy Reid will probably be on his way out within the next 2-3 years, probably retire.
Yeah. And, he spent a long time in the NFL. And the NFL, it is hard to win games. It's just hard to win games, period. Week by week. Look when Tom Brady won his last, I think when he won his 3rd Super Bowl to when he won his 4th, it was like a 10-year span or something, or wasn't it like a real long time?
I was gonna say I still laugh about it to this day. Like when Tom Brady won 3 Super Bowls, like I think a lot of his legacy now is considered like he always went to a Super Bowl and all that. There was 10 years of us growing up where New England was not in a Super Bowl.
Yeah, so it's really hard. And like we talked about last episode, look at the talent at quarterback in the AFC conference. You got Patrick Mahomes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
You got Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Justin Herbert. Who else did we bring up? Joe Burrow, obviously, but who else?
Obviously, you also don't know. Aaron Rodgers could end up in the AFC.
Yeah,
I there and
Derek
that's what
Derek Carr can play. So
that
you have
also
quarterbacks.
yeah that's what I'm saying. Like I just don't think if the Joe Burrow doesn't win a Super Bowl, uh, I this year. I mean, I think this is the Cincinnati's only shot. I just with the talent I see in the AFC, the Bills are a much better team. I think the Ravens healthy are a much better team. I think Justin Herbert.
Dude, that is not bad take at all. I completely agree with you, but I can also make the same argument for your boy Matt Stafford. I think this is one and done.
Oh, I
This
agree.
is
No,
this,
I think if they win, they have a chance to run it back one more like back to back years. But
Von Miller is Von Miller 2 years on his contract left? How much?
I think he's got one more year left on his contract.
He's owed a lot of money. Jalen Ramsey's owed a lot of money. You
No,
don't have picks next year.
Aaron Donald's worth a ton of money. They're going to lose Andrew Whitworth
They'll
probably.
lose Odell Beckham.
They'll definitely lose Odell. I agree. This is definitely a one and done situation.
It is so hard to run it back in the NFL, and that just goes to show, obviously, I think we're going to talk about him a little bit. It just goes to show how great Tom Brady is. I mean, for him to run it back to all those years and then put together that team in Tampa.
I knew when I saw the announcement, Tom Brady was never done. After that, we both know after that terrible loss, he was never retiring.
Dude,
Tom Brady, put it out there. I'm putting it out there now. Tom Brady's going to return. Gronk's going to come back, and they are going to win the Super Bowl again.
I don't know if you follow Rob Gronkowski on Instagram or Twitter or any kind of social media, but when the Bucs lost 2 weeks ago, he went out and posted a couple pictures of the season, and at the end of his comment was year 12 with the eyes and a bunch of question marks. Right there, I kind of got the sense that, listen, all right, they're going to secretly run it back one more time. They're not going to make a big deal about it or anything like that, like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams did with the Last Dance picture. They're not going to make a big scene. They're just going to come in.
Brady doesn't want that. Brady doesn't want a retirement tour.
Business as usual and one more year. Then on all the sports talk shows and the reports and what Brady was saying on his podcast with Jim Gray, me and you, we got nervous because it sounded like he was actually kind of leaning toward retirement.
I got to say, for a guy that like kind of leaned towards, I wanted Tom Brady to retire because I want to see an NFL without Tom Brady. I genuinely was like,
you want to see an NFL without Tom Brady?
No, like I'm ready for it in a way. Like, I mean, I think it's time for the new generation, the Justin Herberts and the Joe Burrows and stuff are here. And Tom Brady being 45, I mean, at this point, it's pretty dangerous of him playing football. I mean, he's way too old to play football. Not Tom. I'm not hating. If you're watching this, I'm a big fan of you. You're a legend.
He is watching this. He does take what we say into consideration.
I said to my dad the other day, like when it got when he was retiring and then he wasn't retiring. I said Tom Brady is so like crazy and like petty in a way that I think he probably was leaning towards retiring. And then the report came out and he's so pissed off about it that I think he actually said to his wife, convince his wife who the reason why he is retiring. Tom Brady would play until 90 years old if it wasn't for his family.
Oh, I mean, he talked about earlier this season that he could play till 50. He wants to play football every year for the rest of his life.
And I think it's more like his mom and his dad and Giselle obviously being like, Tom, you're 45. You can't like
wrap it up. Yeah.
It's not safe for him to play football. I'm just being, I mean, it's not like a hot take. He's 45 years old. So, and I think Tom Brady's so crazy that I think he was going to retire. And I think he's so pissed off that it got reported without him like giving it out that he's going to now come back for another season he has a reason. I said to you, the issue is why I didn't think Tom Brady would probably win the Super Bowl this year is because he didn't have a reason. Like he didn't have a reason to say
he didn't have a why for what he
now he has a why. He has a why.
Now he has.
I'm locking up now. Tom Brady, I don't care if he goes to the Detroit Lions, is winning a Super Bowl next year.
Dude, you're completely right when you say that. And I saw it on social media too. That is the typical, you remember from The Last Dance when George Karl didn't say hello to Michael Jordan at that dinner the night before?
He just had to make something up.
And Michael Jordan's like, I took that personally. Those guys are built from the same mold in terms of competitiveness and just that Mamba mentality.
We're gonna come back. Listen, we're 1 year from now, when whoever they're playing in the Super Bowl, God bless that team, they're gonna get smoked. They're going to get absolutely smoked. We're gonna be saying Adam Schefter is the reason why Tom Brady got another Super Bowl.
Adam Schefter and Jeff Darlington. You lit a fire under Tom Brady, and let me tell you, you might see the greatest season ever put together
No,
this
I
year.
think
I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if they run it back with everybody, sign a couple guys on defense,
Julian
and go
Edelman.
and
Julian
go
Edelman might come
and go
back.
undefeated and win a Super Bowl. I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding.
No, no, I'm being like we're laughing about it, but I genuinely think that Tom Brady was going to retire. He was going to wait another month or two, probably to announce it. And I think now he's so pissed off that he told Giselle to sit down for another year and told the kids to sit down. Dad is running it back one more time. Gronk was probably like, okay, I was going to retire, but now I guess I'm coming back. And don't be surprised if Julian Edelman is back. This could be crazy.
When you have like a crazy life experience or like a traumatic event or all that stuff, it hits you. You receive the news, and then you're kind of like in shock. It hasn't really hit you yet. You're kind of like, oh, not real, whatever. When the news came out on Saturday, obviously, I was immediately depressed. It just ruined my Saturday.
I was upset.
I was
I'm being.
upset. We were texting about it. We were texting
I was
about it.
upset, yeah.
But part of me actually felt that it wasn't real. Like, I'm like, it still hasn't hit.
We both said that I didn't believe it. We both were like, I don't think he actually retired. Like I both.
Look, Tom Brady for years, he posts those hype videos, he makes those posts, and the TB12 company, they posted like something about keep going. You never lose, you learn. So I'm like, oh man.
How about the Buccaneers? I saw the Buccaneers or somebody posted a thank you tribute and then immediately took it down because he called the GM and he was like, "What's going on? I'm not retiring."
So
imagine getting that call. Bruce Arians was probably packing his stuff. He was probably like, "Oh, if Tom's done, I'm done."
Another thing that's sad though is whoever Tom trusted with the information, because maybe he was considering retirement. Maybe he actually
I think Tom
was going to retire.
He was going to retire.
Whoever he told, and then whoever that person told, whether it was Schefter or Darlington or whatever.
Someone told he wouldn't tell Schefter, knowing that Schefter's job is literally to report.
No, I'm not. I'm saying the person who he let the information be known to. If I'm Tom, I'm never trusting that person again. And that's what's sad, because he definitely wanted to go out on his own terms. Now he's going to make sure that he goes out on his own terms. I'm telling you, dude, this is going to be.
It also makes me feel better, the fact that Tom Brady's the last team he's going to beat isn't going to be the Eagles. That kind of made me a little sick. I didn't want him to lose. I didn't want his last one to be against the Eagles.
I know I'm not Bryce, but I'm making a Bryce's best bet right now.
No, that's a lock.
Put all your money into Tom Brady.
No, the minute I'm being honest, I'm 1000%. The minute Tom confirms, says he's coming back, I am going immediately and putting a bet in for them to win the Super Bowl, them to make it to the Super Bowl. I'm putting all those bets in, and I can't wait because I think it's guaranteed money. Tom Brady.
We watch these sports talk.
He might have a perfect season.
No interceptions, 50 touchdowns.
Listen, we said this a long time ago. When it came to doubting Tom Brady, there was always doubts with me, even like making it up in my head. When he came back from 28-3, I said to you and I said to everybody, I said, I will never doubt him again. I don't care if he's down by 100 points.
We were watching that game. I always think about that, especially in his games. Watching that game in Rags' basement, garage, whatever you want to call it.
You tackled me and had a broken leg at the time.
That was just so exciting. Like when Julian Edelman made that crazy catch, when Hightower had that strip sack, like all the things just.
It was a movie. It was a movie.
The running back's name, it's on the tip of my tongue. I can't think of it right now. Yeah, James White just coming out of nowhere, turning into Marshall Faulk. Like he was just like awesome. Everything was put together.
Barry Sanders.
Yeah, he turned into Emmitt Smith for like 2 quarters. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen. And you just see Tom Brady just slowly creeping his way back into that game. Me and you both said we're never doubting him ever again.
No, I'm never. He was the greatest of all time after that comeback win, no doubt whatsoever. It didn't take him to win another one against the Rams, and it didn't take him to win one with the Buccaneers. That just solidified his greatness. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be. I mean, the NFL is actually, I think, going to be boring next year because I think Tom Brady's going to just dominate.
I know what you say in terms of like, it's time on to the next generation. Let's bring in these new guys. It's their time now. But, part of me still likes how Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, you could kind of put Russell Wilson into that tier because he is getting up
He's
there in
getting
age.
there. Yeah, he's getting there.
He's kind of part of that generation.
Yeah, well, I mean, we watched it. Ben Roethlisberger, Philip Rivers, and Eli Manning have now all gone. Those were our quarterbacks. Those were like our guys growing up.
But part of me likes those matchups because kind of like similar to how the Peyton Manning Denver Broncos versus the Cam Newton Carolina Panthers.
I'm still sad. I'm still sad Peyton Manning doesn't play football. I miss those
Yeah,
days.
you miss those guys, but you like those matchups. Like how awesome Cam Newton MVP candidate versus Hall of Fame quarterback Peyton Manning. Those matchups, obviously it wasn't the same Peyton Manning, but last year Patrick Mahomes, young stud versus Tom Brady, the GOAT. And those matchups is what makes it interesting. Like,
Jim, like I don't think you understand. Like I think people think we're joking. The listening is Tom Brady. I think will win the MVP. I think he'll win Super Bowl MVP. I think they'll win the Super Bowl. Like he has his why not? He has something that he can stamp on his wall and be like, they're whatever. Because people never like coming into the season, he really had nothing going for him. I actually think it kind of would have made more sense if he retired last year, honestly, because he kind of solidified everything. He won without Belichick. He took a franchise that has literally been irrelevant for the last 20 years and made them into a Super Bowl champ. But yeah, no, it's a lock. Chris Godwin's going to come back for like one more season. They're going to get Gronk. Don't be surprised if Julian Edelman comes out of retirement and I want to see Julian Edelman on that team again. I want to see him on the Buccaneers.
Here's a question that I thought was kind of interesting. I can't see it happening. I think he's going to return to the Bucs. But obviously, you and I, we watch those sports talk shows. I was watching Undisputed the other day, last week sometime, and Skip Bayless brought up the idea of Tom Brady going home and one last year playing. Could you see it happening?
No. I think just because when it comes to talent, I think the Buccaneers are still one of the more talented teams in the NFL. They have two elite wide receivers. I think they kind of add some couple guys. They still have an elite defense. I just think they need to kind of get that running back situation figured out. I think that's what's really big. They kind of bounced around. They've had
But
like.
Hey, listen. I mean, if you trade Jimmy G, like
my bad. They had Leonard Fournette. That was a dumb take. I'm sorry. He's always hurt though. He's been hurt though. That's why I forgot. That was a dumb take. Dumb take by me.
We're good.
I deserve to get yelled at for that.
We'll talk to our production crew and we'll edit that out.
That was bad.
But anyway, from the 49ers side of it, listen, they made it this far with Jimmy G, and he's obviously had a good career in the postseason. But they wanted to trade Jimmy G before the year started, so now you get rid of him, maybe get a pick or two, give Trey Lance, your boy, one more year to learn from the greatest to do
it. I still don't think it's crazy to sit Trey Lance for another year, even though he's an absolute stud.
He's an absolute stud. He had like 8 career games in college, and he's played in the NFL for like 15 minutes.
Just wait.
I'm starting to get sick and tired of your crazy takes. You gotta be kidding me.
I don't have that many crazy takes.
I'm messing with you.
Trey Lance. I just think Trey Lance is a stud. Like, that's just it. No, I didn't think Trevor Lawrence was going to be good this year. That turned out to be a good take.
I'm busted on you. Trey Lance. I just don't know much about, and I think that he could benefit from learning a year under Tom Brady.
Obviously, I think Tom Brady would relish that. Like, he's not like, I think Aaron Rodgers has been like a douche to Jordan Love for the last 2 years. And I think like Tom Brady would actually be like, hey, like, yeah, like do this better. This, like, it would be better.
This is what you do in these situations. Yeah.
I was just going to say, though, what was funny, I was going to be like, wouldn't it be so hard for Tom to go to another team and win a Super Bowl? And then he literally did it with the Bucs.
First year. He took the 7-9 Buccaneers to the Super Bowl and beat the Chiefs dynasty.
I will say the Buccaneers team they're no, like that was not a normal 7-9 team. They were good. They were good 7-9. Like they had a lot of talent. It just Jameis Winston just literally throws it every time, one step forward, 2 steps back with Jameis. But I mean, I'm not. If Tom Brady is literally coming back because of Adam Schefter,
I'm here for it. I can't wait.
No, he's coming. Like, it's not even a question. Tom Brady is like, he was definitely going to retire, and now he's definitely coming back. Which this might be the wildest thing that ever happened in sports. He was going to retire, now he's going to come and win a Super Bowl.
it's just sad that we couldn't hear it from him first. Like that's just not how I wanted it to go down.
He's so mad. Like I could just picture him like Dark Vader, like the
What do you
eyes
what do
turn
you
red.
what do you think he did when he went on his phone and got all these text messages and phone calls and tweets and all these notifications like
I think he was pissed.
Tom Brady retires, yada yada yada.
Pissed.
He was probably like, what the heck is this?
Oh, by the way, early candidate for tweet of the year is Matt Castle with the I texted Tom Brady and he didn't text me back.
Yeah, I saw that. Did you retweet that or something? I saw that.
I said, yeah, I think that's an all-time tweet by Matt Castle.
I'm here for the Tom Brady last ride.
No, but the issue is
I don't want them. I don't want him to say, "This is my last year."
No, he won't
I
say
mean,
that.
I don't want him to do like the victory lap, like a lot of those stars do, because I think that would just add more
Yeah,
distraction.
like when Mariano Rivera like was on his retirement tour and like every team like a bunch of soft.
Yeah, David Ortiz, you got a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they would like give him stuff. Which, by the way, that's the softest thing in sports. Don't
And,
give a guy like the fact that like I don't know like Mariano Rivera retires and like when he's going to like the Red Sox and they honor him like he crushed your franchise for like years. Like you should hate that guy. I don't. That's not a hot take to me. That's just dumb that people honor. Like if like I don't know. Let's just say David Wright was on a farewell tour. Like I wouldn't honor him. He crushed the Phillies for years. Like I don't get that. Just off topic. Just
no, in basketball they do that. I know a lot of sports tried doing that. You know, the victory lap for those who did well in the league and then are retired.
Yeah,
I don't.
Like Vince Carter got a victory lap. He doesn't deserve one. He just played forever. Like who cares?
Jeez, that's a little. I mean, that's a little mean. Vince Carter was.
I'm just angry. Like it just makes me mad that people get on. Like to stop the soft stuff. Like Michael, you think Michael Jordan would like that? You think Michael Jordan would want to like a you know? That's why he pretty much said he didn't know if he was going to retire or not. He didn't want teams like giving him here's a basketball.
He should have retired. He should have retired after that 98 year. He should have just hung him up.
Yeah, the fact that he came back for the Wizards that might be one of the more forgotten comebacks of all time. He actually played well, but no, Tom Brady's going to come back, and I actually think he's going to be. I think the Buccaneers are going to be minus 1,000 to win the Super Bowl because I think it's going to be a lock.
I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Supposedly he texted the GM again today and said, "Listen, I'm not even close to a decision."
Yeah, I still do think he's definitely debating retirement a little bit. I think, we're a little bit joking. I think now it was more like, I think coming after the season, it was like 50-50. I think after a week after the game, right before it was reported, I think he was definitely going to retire. I think he was Giselle and has probably talked to his parents and stuff like, hey, you're 45, you have grown kids. It's time to call it quit. I just think the issue is, and people don't talk about this enough, imagine playing football for 45 years of your life. Every day of Tom Brady's life, he's played football, and now he's got to retire. It's tough to find another passion because I don't think Tom Brady's going to be a coach or like an announcer or anything like that. I don't see him.
I can't see him fitting in a role like kind of Tony Romo. How Tony Romo after retirement he went right in. Drew Brees had some success with broadcasting after, but he wasn't really.
I mean, he's getting paid like $10 million a year, so he's loving life. Like,
yeah, but I mean, I just can't see Tom Brady doing stuff like that.
No, he's definitely. I see him a lot like Michael Jordan, just kind of disappearing into the world.
Yeah, but Jordan, he really.
Jordan just hates everybody.
He grew his brand though, and I do see Tom Brady doing that. He's coming out with the clothing brand. He's obviously got the TB12 method. I think that he'll work on his brand once he retires. But another thing you got to keep in mind that he's probably pondering, he takes that shot from Von Miller. All right. Well, in the regular season, if he takes a shot like that and gets a concussion and he's out for 3 weeks to a month, that ruins your last year. So never, you don't want anyone to ever get hurt.
No,
if he gets hurt.
It's like that. It's like a scene out of like a Roman like Empire movie where like they cut like the king and he doesn't think he can actually bleed. When I saw Tom Brady bleed, I was shocked. I was like, wait, is that his own blood? Does he actually his blood's red?
Oh man, I mean,
I definitely think like I would be shocked, but I wouldn't be super surprised if Tom Brady did retire at the end of the day. Like the guy is 45 years old. He's going to be 46 next season. His arm is still terrific, but at the end of the day, these hits are at this point life threatening.
They add up, and
these are 25-year-old to 30-year-old guys in their prime, elite athletes. Like, I'm sorry, but like an Aaron Donald full blown shot is that could put Tom Brady down for good.
It stings a little bit, and I don't mean to cut us short or anything like that. We got about 30 seconds left. But like you said, I fully expect him to be back. I can't wait. I'm here for it.
We're gonna get
Eyes
back.
on 8. Eyes on 8. That's what
Oh,
it
I
is.
don't. We're gonna come back and we're gonna get Jim's thoughts and my thoughts within a week before the Super Bowl. I think a lot of things will change. I think right now we're riding that Bengals high. I think things are gonna change.
Definitely. As always, go Birds.
Go Birds.